Brandon Gomes said the Dodgers are unlikely to trade for a third baseman in light of Max Muncy's injury. That was before the Dodgers scored 6 runs in 3 games against the Astros. Might this terrible weekend kickstart them into reconsidering that decision? Let's talk about it on All Dodgers. Hello, Clint Nation, Jeff Nation, All Dodgers Nation, whatever you want to call it. Welcome. It is Sunday evening. We are talking Dodgers here on the All Dodgers podcast, part of the Believe network of podcasts. I am Jeff Snyder, half of this duo. That guy next to me, look, I pointed the right direction. That's Clint Pasillas.
That's huge.
The other half. We are, we've both been talking, writing, thinking about the Dodgers for our whole lives, and now we do it here on this podcast, and we have a lot of fun. We appreciate all of you who are with us. Please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Give us a like, give us a follow, all those things. Let's jump right in, Clint, because this was a series. The Dodgers got swept by the Astros, in case you were living under a rock. Oh
God.
we knew we were doing a show tonight, or at least I knew I was doing a show tonight.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you say after a weekend like this? Because, I mean, technically the correct answer is, well, at least it's only 3 games. At least they had a big lead in the division coming into the series, blah, blah, blah. The series sucked. It was no fun to watch. It was, I'm sure, no fun to be there in person, other than being at Dodger Stadium. But it's a rough one. Gage says, what the heck happened in this series? Well, the Dodgers scored 6 runs in 3 games, and they allowed, 6,000 runs, I think?
Well, math isn't my forte, but 18 in the first game, you're going to have a bad time. Dodgers all around had a bad time.
Yeah, so even if the Dodgers had shut out the Astros in the last 2 games of the series, they would have been outscored by a factor of 3 in this series. It was rough, and obviously, you can. Clint likes to call me the voice of reason, the annoying optimist, whatever. And you can absolutely make a case. Okay, well, 10 of those runs were allowed by Noah Davis, who will probably never pitch for the Dodgers again. Ben Kasparius, he's moving back to the bullpen role. Blah 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 blah. There's stuff you can say, but that's the pitching side. The fact is, they still only scored 6 runs in 3 games.
Yes.
And they had some opportunities. Then they somehow come out of the weekend even more banged up than they were going in, because now Tommy Edman has a fractured toe and Teoscar Hernandez has a hurting foot and Kike Hernandez has a sore elbow. And it's just like, I think you said in our group chat, the All-Star break can't come soon enough for this team.
It really cannot.
And really, can it be 3 weeks long?
Seriously, that's about the only thing that would help this team out right now is a good long break. Everybody just have a few beers, not worry about baseball. More importantly, get healthy. That's the thing that this team needs really bad. Obviously, we've known for a while the pitching side of things have been a struggle, and that's a reason why somebody like a Noah Davis was throwing a baseball for this team at the major league level. It's a reason why Ben Kasparius was probably pitching out of his best role since he really hadn't started as a big leaguer and all that kind of stuff. They're missing arms, but now all of a sudden, offense missing some big-time pieces, and it started on Wednesday on Kershaw 3K Day when Muncy had that knee injury. That's kind of where everything changed, because it turns out Muncy's offense was pretty important to this Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, throughout this season, there has been – everybody's gone through their bouts of inconsistency offensively, but lately it's been Max Muncy who has kind of been carrying this offense, or at least one of the – Andy Pages has been good. Will Smith has remained good. But Max Muncy is the guy who got to where we needed him to be. Yeah. Andy Pages, it's almost like a little bit of a surprise that he got to where he was. Like, you come into this season and think, okay, Pages can bat 9th, and hopefully he can play a decent center field, and any offense you get is a bonus. Max Muncy's a guy coming to the season knowing if we're going to have as good a season as we want to have, we need Max Muncy to be hitting. And he wasn't early in the season. So his resurgence was huge for this team, especially because, like, in the month of June, Mookie and Freddie and Teoscar were all very, very bad. Shohei was much less good than he had been in May.
Yeah.
It was Max Muncy gave the Dodgers what they needed exactly when they needed it. So all of that kind of brings us to the point where Muncy's out now, and Brandon Gomes, the Dodgers GM, the forgotten GM. Everybody always just talks about Andrew Friedman. Brandon Gomes is technically the general manager.
Technically, yeah.
And he said that the Dodgers were unlikely to trade for a third baseman, and they talked about the plan that Tommy Edman would play third base against right-handed pitching, and then Kike and Rojas would take turns against left-handed pitching at third base, which gets more at-bats for Hyun-Sung Kim. All sorts of reasons that's a decent idea. But I think what we saw this weekend was that this lineup without Max Muncy, like, yes, you can cover the defensive side.
Yeah.
But Tommy Edman, Miguel Rojas, Kike Hernandez. We're going to talk in a minute about the fact that Rojas has been better than we expected and better than people probably give him credit for. But none of those guys, even at their peak, is anything close to what Max Muncy can bring offensively to this team.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, I mean, part of the offensive is the run production, and that's what this team has very evidenced by only scoring 6 runs over the weekend. The run production is down, and Shohei, we know, is in a big-time struggle right now. I had mentioned, I don't know if I said it in the Discord or not, but I think he needs a day. I think he would very much benefit from a blow, as Dave Roberts calls it, and that could be, well, I guess he's not even going to get a break, really, at the All-Star break, because he's going to be in that game. He's in the starting lineup, likely leading off for the National League team. But, yeah, just giving him a day, maybe 2 days, it's going to go an absolute long way, I think, just mentally resetting him. The dude is working very, very hard. Now, is the entire lineup struggling because Shohei Ohtani is not hitting? No. Is he absolutely a key contributor to that? Yeah, for sure, because without Muncy, you need another body to do something. And the people who've obviously filled in for Muncy, like you said, they could do the defense. They're not quite doing the offense, even though Miguel Rojas, somebody we need to have a little bit of a conversation about, like, he hasn't been bad with the bat. Kike Hernandez, somebody just lie to him, tell him it's October or whatever. But those guys are getting on base at the end of the lineup or the bottom of the lineup, and Shohei's not really driving them in. Mookie is finding something, but it's not really with runners in scoring position. Freddie is still in like this weird middle ground of it all. And then, of course, no Teoscar, no Tommy Edman. All of that's adding up to you're straight up having a bad time at the worst time. As somebody said, Denny Cortez had said, it's like even worse because it's that team. Should also note we have a couple of super chats. One from Timmy, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. He says, I think I saw an Astros drag a trash can into the dugout, and we could always appreciate a good cheating scandal reference. And, of course, our friend Richie Flores with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Richie says, when you throw low leverage tomato cans that were found in the Dollar Tree, it's a joke. No guts, no business being on this roster. Embarrassing.
Behind the Dollar Tree, not at the Dollar Tree, behind the Dollar Tree. Even Dollar Tree didn't want these guys, these low leverage tomato cans.
Anyways, I said a lot of things there. You pick which one you want to kind of branch off of from there, and we'll have a conversation about that. But I do also want to remind people, like, hey, like the show, subscribe to the show, all that kind of stuff. If you hit the like button, the Dodgers are going to know, and they're all going to play a lot bit better, I guess we'll say. Should I also? We should probably do the what's it called? I'm trying to find it right now. If you have the bet online,
I was working on a segue for that, man.
Go for it. I ruined everything.
That started with. We said Brandon Gomes said the Dodgers are unlikely to trade for a third baseman. I think they're a little more likely. And I don't know if it's something you can bet on, but if you could bet on whether or not the Dodgers are going to trade for a third baseman, you might want to do it at BetOnline, because BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball in full swing, football season around the corner, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting from MLB, UFC to tennis and NFL futures. BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering info. And in between games, you can head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. So head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. BetOnline, the game starts here.
I don't know if you can, but if you can, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they should get it on there if not. Because, yeah, I think there's a chance the Dodgers might look at trading for a third baseman. Because right now, like, even though Miguel Rojas, let's give Miguel Rojas the minute and a half that he deserves right now, maybe 2 minutes. Because I think in a lot of people's minds, Dodger fans' minds, Miguel Rojas has been really bad this year. And you look at his overall numbers, not great. His OPS coming into today was 701. I don't have after today's stats pulled up because Baseball Reference doesn't add them until at the end of the day, but it's somewhere around 700, which isn't great. No. But that's because he started off really bad. From the beginning of the season through 2/3 of the way through April, he had a 318 OPS. And that's bad. 147 batting average,
uphill
147 slugging percentage. It was bad. Since then, though, we're looking at 40 games, 87 plate appearances. He's batting 300 with an 861 OPS. That is not just serviceable, that's really good. And so it's understandable why the Dodgers might think, you know what, Rojas, we know Kike has potential to be a decent hitter. We know Edman has been a good hitter at times. He's been slumping lately. You could see that. My concern about Rojas as part of the solution at third base is when we're talking about that, I said his last 40 games, 87 plate appearances. Well, that's only 87 plate appearances in 40 games, which means he's not playing the full games. And those 40 games have come over the Dodgers' last 67 games.
Yeah.
So he's playing 2/3 of the games and getting 2/3 of the plate appearances in the games that he does get, which adds up to a 4/9. That's 44% of the potential plate appearances. That's what he's getting. And I think that's Miguel Rojas's role of not playing every day, play multiple positions, play good defense. Take away Saturday, he plays good defense. And I worry that if he got pushed into playing more regularly, he would go back to hitting more poorly,
Yeah, it's a lot like what we saw last year with Chris Taylor. He hit 303 in the second half because it was very, very selective duty in which he was playing in these games. And yeah, it looks real nice or whatever, but if you're playing him against the worst pitchers or guys that he might have a better time facing, that's what they're doing a lot with Miguel Rojas. And he's as good as he's been. He is the perfect 12th or 13th dude on the position player side of the roster. But yeah, to have him be, especially now with the Kike Hernandez kind of issue, maybe he's thrown too many innings. Was it? I actually didn't know until you mentioned it. So Kike has a barking elbow, is what they said.
Yeah, that's what was said after.
Too many innings, or what?
Yeah, I actually don't remember if it was his right or left elbow, but that's what I saw. So basically, Will Smith was their only pinch hitter available today. And obviously they're trying to give Smith the whole day off. So like somebody in our Discord was talking about, why didn't they hit for Esteury Ruiz late in that game? And it's like, well, they didn't really have anybody available.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games. It was going to be an uphill battle. You kind of hope, well, we're going up against something called, what was that pitcher's name? I'm not even convinced he had a name. I think his first name was Ryan. Was his name Ryan?
Which one?
For the guy who pitched for the Astros today.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember. Again,
I'm almost positive he had a name. But that's like,
allegedly.
You go into thinking, well, hopefully we can hit off this guy who.
I sure his first name wasn't Mucho. It is Ryan Gusto, or
Ryan
Gusto if you're Joe Davis, which is the way. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Dodgers got Mucho Gusto, or something. I was told there would be no Spanish.
They got nada. They got nada.
The Astros were pretty mucho gustoed about his performance, unfortunately. And anyway, so yeah, they didn't have anybody available. So all this, getting back to the main topic of, like the banner says, time to get busy on the trade market, because yes, Brandon Gomes said they're not going to trade for a third baseman, but they might need to trade for a third baseman.
Or just another adult that can play some positions. And, you and I talked on Friday, I think it was, or whenever the last time we did one of these together, Thursday, about Jose Ramirez from Cleveland or whatever, somebody that has some positional versatility with a lot of upside with the bat. Obviously, that's like the great white buffalo of an acquisition for this team. I think they could overwhelm Cleveland to make a move like that happen, but you need to be looking for, doesn't necessarily need to have star power, but you need to have somebody that has a high upside bat that with some positional versatility, because 162 games in a long ass season, you're seeing all of now the dings and bruises and little things that add up to a lineup like we saw today, which was, as our buddy Richie said in the chat, it was a bit of a punt lineup. I don't know if it was a punt. That was the starting offensive line.
It's what they had available.
Yeah. And that's tough. That is really tough.
Yeah. And when you are the best team in baseball, it is frustrating to have this be what was available. But that's how sometimes 4 guys get hurt in the span of 4 days, which is apparently what happened here. We'll see what goes on. And so, but yeah, your point is it doesn't necessarily need to be a third baseman they trade for. Like you think about Tommy Edman is going to be in the lineup almost every day.
Yeah.
Switch hitter, one of their main guys. So he's going to be in the lineup. Well, we know he can play multiple positions.
He's also been struggling a little bit.
But the point is, if you just say, okay, Tommy Edman, you're our third baseman, well, then there's 2 other positions that open up for potential trades, like, say, center field, like, say, pending free agent Jarren Duran, who plays for a team that, even though they've been decent lately, they are still 6.5 games out in their division, 2.5 games out of the wild card spot, with several teams to leapfrog to get into that spot.
Yeah.
If the Red Sox sell, Jarren Duran, come on home, right? He's a Southern California boy. You get in Duran, and basically at that point he's replacing Conforto, or Teoscar. If Teoscar keeps playing like this, I guess Teoscar and Conforto go into platoon in left field, put Pages in right, Duran in center, and then Edman can just be your third baseman, right?
If it's for now, and then eventually Max comes back and is healthy in a month and a half, whatever it is, by September, knowing that you just need to survive right now. They kind of need a stopgap for now. Yeah.
And that's one of the benefits of going after like a center fielder is that you're not, because Muncy doesn't have positional flexibility.
Yeah.
If Muncy's playing, it needs to be at third base because his positional flexibility is first base, and that's occupied. And so he's going to need to be third base. If you go out and trade for Jose Ramirez, like we talked about, well, he has played some second base and some left field, but really he's a third baseman. Especially if you go even further and go get a Nolan Arenado or Alex Bregman, or who was the other? Eugenio Suarez. One of those guys. These pending free agents or bad contracts in the case of Arenado. Those guys are third basemen, and so then you are kind of locking Max out. But if you go after a center fielder, whether it's Duran or Luis Robert from the White Sox, or I haven't even looked at how Lou Bob is doing this year. I
think he's on the IL right now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Dodgers just played the White Sox, huh?
Yeah. He
so,
hit the IL just slightly before that series, and he wasn't doing good still, yet again.
And looking at the other pending free agent center field, I guess Cedric Mullins would be an option. Go get Cedric Mullins.
How is he actually doing this year, though?
I don't know. Let's find out on the fly, shall we?
Together, 313 with 13 dingers, 41 ribs,
105 OPS plus. So basically, exactly a Cedric Mullins season, which is bad defense. Ooh, bad defense in center this year. Yeah,
that's tough.
So it looks like a Cedric Mullins season until you look at his WAR is below 0 because his defense has been bad this year. That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. So not an option. That's the other thing too, and I think, getting back to the whole idea of the Dodgers don't want to be active. They didn't want to be active at the trade deadline for a myriad of reasons, and they said this in January, and obviously that's the best laid plans of mice and men. Here we are now in July, where there's a need for a bat, at least for now. But there aren't really a lot of fantastic options that. Like, you need to go out and find somebody that's going to be at least a few ticks above Miguel Rojos, Kike Hernandez, Alex Freeland in the organization. And I don't know that those guys are out there unless it is trading for, the very clear kind of replacement to Max Muncy with, a J-Ram, with, Suarez, if for some reason the Diamondbacks decide they're out and also decide to be okay with trading. Which you absolutely know they would not be. So it's nice for us to be like, hey, is it time to get busy on the trade market? Sure, but what? What can you go out and get?
Yeah, the other name I just saw in the chat is Yohan Moncada, who I was thinking about too. He's a free agent after this year. He's having a good year with the Angels.
Yeah, he was hurt a couple of times, but if he's back up and healthy, he's or Luis Rengifo was somebody else. I forgot where it was talked about. Rengifo is another guy, long
Aren't
time
you supposed
future
to be
Dodger.
the Latino on this podcast, and you're saying Rengifo?
Yeah,
It's Rengifo, bro.
I ain't gonna try that hard.
All right, I respect that. Yeah, okay. So Moncada hasn't played since June 1st, so I don't know what his prognosis is, but probably don't need to replace our injured third baseman with an injured third baseman.
Yeah. I think the best look is still going to be like what you were saying, an outfielder. We are right now where we were a month ago. You need to replace Michael Conforto in the lineup, even if he's doing a little bit better, but it needs to be somebody that eventually takes that spot because you had to love at least what you saw out of Hesong Kim today, playing second base. I think, obviously if it's Jose Ramirez, if Muncy comes back, one of those two are either playing third or second base on any given day, which again locks Kim out of playing time, but he needs to be in there so we can see what the hell he can do for a potential postseason role. Get us an outfielder. I don't know who that outfielder is, to be honest. It's a really, really tough market this year.
And J-Ram did play some left field. I told you back in the day. I mean, he hasn't done it since 2016, but he used to play some left field somewhat regularly.
A hard pass on that one. Mike, you got Doom Sal in the chat, the $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Doom Sal says, bring up Ryan Ward, who is killing the minors and leads the PCL with 23 homers, above average outfielder. I question the above average outfield part.
Above average, yeah.
But the bat is there.
Defense. I don't watch OKC nearly as much as Mike does, and so maybe he's right. What I've seen of Ryan Ward's defense in spring training, it was this guy. You try to hide him at first base, and he's too bad defensively to play first base. Yeah. Maybe he is better defensively than he looked in spring training. I don't know, and I don't really know even because errors can't tell you the whole story, and so I don't really know if we have enough advanced stats to know that without watching regularly, which I know Mike does. So maybe he's right, but
maybe, yeah.
I have to believe as well as Ryan Ward has hit, if the Dodgers were high on his defense at all, he already would have gotten a chance. Instead of, they wouldn't have Esteury Ruiz up there right now. They would have made room on the 40-man roster for Ryan Ward,
Yeah, no, that's a bona fide fact. And if we're doing something like that, give James Outman another chance, who we know can play defense at the major league level and is having a really, really good season at AAA. But the problem is he doesn't know where the baseball goes when he gets to the big league level. It just kind of his bat is here, but the ball is here.
The pitchers keep throwing pitches that move and stuff. They don't go straight balls.
That's rude. That's rude, to be honest. Bad on them. Mike Carrillo saying in the chat, hey, maybe the Royals can give up Garcia, if that helps you feel more ethnically diverse here on the show.
I feel like that was overboard a little bit. I think you're doing too much now. I think that's what the kids say.
Michael. Yeah, it's definitely a bit much. He's having a nice season, 131 OPS plus, but he's also
not a free agent for a long time, and he's 24 years old. So
yeah, I think where I'm at, and where I'm at is different from where other people are at, because I am keenly aware of the fact that this team needs to trade they need to have a third base replacement ready to go for Muncy, because chances are Muncy is a bench guy or needs to start phasing into a bench role sooner rather than later. Maybe he could be a starter next year still there at third base. Outside of where he decided to heat up against lefties in the month of June, he was also very much in need of a platoon partner. If you look at the numbers in totality this season, I think he's hitting 170 against lefties, something like that. They need an heir apparent at third base, and they don't have that guy in-house. It's not Alex Freeland. It's very clearly not Cody Hosey. It's not, Ryan Ward doesn't play third base, but still, they don't have somebody that can plug into the bat, into the lineup, plug that bat in the lineup, give them some offense, all that kind of stuff. You need to look at 26, 27. That's where my mind is at least when I'm talking about Ramirez or even a Garcia here.
Yeah, and that's why you do consider emptying the farm system for a guy like Jose Ramirez, even, that's what it would take to get him from the Indians or Guardians, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Trade for Michael Garcia and Seth Lugo, Michael Carrillo. Hey, I'm all about that for sure.
Yeah,
What's that?
I said I saw that because we read the Garcia one from Michael there, but then I saw afterwards he had dropped a super chat in there. I also missed one earlier from Timmy, another $2 super chat. I want to make sure we get in there since it felt like every pitcher was tipping pitches. I would definitely say that was the case with Ben Kasparius, and hopefully they look into something with him. Between outings, because
but at least that gave
drilled.
At least that gave Astros fans something to be crybabies about, because Oral mentioned it and was clearly talking about it. It seems like he's tipping pitches, and
narrative.
Like, you just can't let it go, man. Like, the Astros fans are so much worse than the Astros. Like, and it's the Astros fans who just are indignant and insist that they didn't do anything every other team wasn't doing. Well, yeah, they did.
Time.
And we have proof of it. Like,
every time.
Yeah. So,
They had a whole ass room, like a room of people dedicated to stealing signs and all of this, and their algorithm, code breaker, and yada, yada. But don't care, 187. I like this one. It says Clint, a.k.a. No Habla. Habla muy poquito. Habla muy poquito.
Habla. Isn't that a city by Fullerton? La Habla?
La Habla. I'm not going to overdo it, I got to be careful in my neighborhood right now, I say.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man.
Man 5 Dodge says Muncie's injury might be a turning point for this team. And I think that's a good way of trying to expressing a different way what I'm saying. It's a turning point where we've had a few times where a Muncie injury has really, really cost this team big time. Obviously, 21. The elbow. Both of these are freak injuries. He will have time to come back, hopefully settle in and assimilate back into this lineup. But again, I'm thinking about that next, the next era.
Yeah, and that's where another guy who I think we mentioned the other day, I haven't mentioned it today, would be an Austin Riley type. If the Braves decided that the little bit they're paying him is too much, because the Braves don't like to pay their players anything. But, if you go and make a blockbuster, hey, Chris Sale and Austin Riley for a ton of minor leaguers who you can later convince to take contracts where you don't have to pay them anything. It's something like that where, ever since whoever it was mentioned the Michael Garcia and Seth Lugo in a package. Who was that?
That's my career.
Michael. Yeah. That's right. I'm like, okay, well, who else? What other pitchers could come with a third baseman, and just give me Chris Sale and Austin Riley. I'll take that, Give me that turning point.
That would be. Wait, isn't Sale supposed to be?
I'll give you James Outman and Hunter Fiducia.
Now you sound like a Dodger fan on Twitter.
Yeah.
Was Chris Sale supposed to be done for the year? I heard something about that, but I know he is injured. How about Alec Bohm and Zach Wheeler? Let's go crazy. I mean, the Phillies are in it, but I don't care. Those are the people I want.
I'm sure the first place. They're not the Brewers. They're not going to trade their best pitcher even when they're in first place like the Brewers would. So
I don't.
Who's the Brewers' third baseman?
Hey, can we trade for some more deferred contracts? I haven't had it. It's been a while since we've had some good deferred contract talk in here. But
that's because we, unlike everybody else on the internet, ignored Bobby Bonilla Day last week because, we understand the value of deferred money. So
yeah, 100%. This one also just to keep the Hispanic narrative going from Efra. It says y'all got La Chancla and the Broom. That would be from. I'm assuming Efrod is an Astros fan. Appreciate you hanging out with us, Efrod. If you are an Astros fan. McKeel saying,
wait,
how about...
Remind me what chancla means.
That's the sandal you get.
Oh, okay.
It's papao. It's when...
I didn't Mexican mom, so...
Is it when mama or abuelita...
Yeah.
It's like pentejo,
Does that violate our F-bomb?
Maybe. I think you could do it when it's in Espanol. Guys, okay. I'm going to learn how to say F-bombs. No, honestly, Richie's going to learn how to say F-bombs in Japanese.
Richie already knows them in all the languages.
No, that is pretty fair. Again, I don't they need to be active. I don't know what you do. I don't know. Outside of us just having fun here on a Sunday, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'd also appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed up to this point, it does really help out the channel. We're here just trying to, I think, not remember the last 3 games, but also realize that, hey, the last 3 games are spurring this conversation of they need some help. They need some help. And it's not coming anytime soon in-house.
And here's the thing. Even when Brandon Gomes said they were unlikely to trade for a third baseman, I didn't believe him then. And that was before this weekend.
Well, I hear they're liars.
Well, and they do lie sometimes. And
they definitely lie on that regard for sure.
If the Dodgers GM said, we really need a third baseman, that would not be a good approach to the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And so, take it or leave it. It's like on Friends when Chandler's going to buy an engagement ring for Monica, and then in the jewelry store, and Phoebe says, let me do the negotiating. And Chandler says, how much is this ring? And the guy says, $8,600. And Phoebe says, we will give you $10. And then Chandler talks him down to $8,000, and Phoebe says, I am firm at $10. That's what they're doing here. You gotta maintain your negotiating position. And so, of course, the Dodgers are going to look into every possible trade, every possible way to improve this team. And looking at this weekend, and even just the big picture, we knew in general, the offense is going to take a hit without Max Muncy. Whoever you replace him with is not going to be as good a hitter as Max Muncy when Max Muncy's hitting right. And so within the organization. So, you might look outside the organization to replace him with somebody who can actually replace him offensively.
I'm just distracted. I've noticed the Astros fans have made their way into the chat. We appreciate the clicks, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Go to betonline.ag. Be sure to tell them we sent you. What else? Tell all your friends. Come before we go. Come have them hop in. Let's get these viewers up to 12,000 before we sign off. 11,000 of them are Astros fans. Great.
The next best way, you also got to make sure you go. We get really hurt when Astros fans sign up at patreon.com/realfrg or click the join button here on YouTube and commit the $5 or even the $10 tier of supporting the channel. We really hate it when Astros fans
hurts
do
our
that.
Feelings. Yeah,
it hurts our feelings big time. Yeah, it's I feel like that. What do the kids say? Rent free. Oh man, that would be so rent free if that happened.
You guys would be totally living in my head if you did that.
I think I did that right. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that they weren't here earlier when I said Astros fans are the worst part of the Astros. So if you heard that, I was just joking.
Yeah. Hey, let's go back a little bit. As you have to give the Astros some credit for coming in here. Obviously, it's not a rivalry, but it is a rivalry because of events. Should we be fair to them, or do we just
I don't think we need to be fair to them. They're a good team. It's not like this isn't like the series the Dodgers got swept by the Angels, where that was like, okay, we just got swept by a bad team. I wouldn't use embarrassing, but that's my own personal choice. I have never been embarrassed by the way strangers played baseball, and I'm not going to start now at age 95 or whatever I am. But so it's not as bad as that one, but. Yeah, you heard the reaction when Jose Altuve came to bat every time this weekend. I think that's not boo. They're saying somebody carry that bat for him because it looks too big for him. Dodger fans have not forgotten 2017 when the Astros cheated to win the World Series against the Dodgers. Dodger fans are not going to forget 2017 when the Astros cheated to win the World Series against the Dodgers. It is a little different now because Jose Altuve and Lance McCullers are the only players left from that 2017 Astros team that cheated to win the World Series over the Dodgers when they cheated because they're cheaters. But they still wear the same uniforms. And so, that uniform is going to carry the stigma of the 2017 cheaters who cheated to win the World Series over the Dodgers for a long time. And as Dodger fans, it's probably a little more frustrating to lose a series to the team that cheated in 2017 to win the World Series over the Dodgers than to some team that didn't cheat in 2017 to win the World Series over the Dodgers,
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday on the coffee and cursing chat on Saturday. I'm just like, I'm over the whole thing. Like, I hate them. I just don't care to give it more fuel. I would rather just see Dodgers should go out there and beat them, but clearly that wasn't on the agenda for them this weekend. But I think one of the reasons. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was pleasantly surprised this weekend that I didn't really care that it was the Astros that the Dodgers were losing to. It was a dumb series. It was frustrating to watch. It wasn't fun to watch. But I don't think my mood was affected at all by who they were losing to, because the people who came up with the idea to cheat are gone. The people who did most of the cheating are gone. I do hold it against Altuve, even though he didn't cheat as much as I believe him when he says that he didn't even want to know what pitch was coming, but he was the leader of that team. He was a 3-time All-Star. Got MVP votes. He was the leader of that team, and he allowed that to happen. So, yeah, I do hold that against him, but he's the only guy left who really you can hold it against. So it's like, yeah, okay, I don't care. Like, at this point, it's the Astros, whatever. I hope they win because that's who the Dodgers are playing, so I want the Dodgers to beat them,
Yeah, for me, like watching it, and again, I watched very little of this series. I also know how these series get, especially like on social media and whatever. And I'm too old to deal with the annoyance of, as you pointed out, idiotic Astros fans online and then Dodgers fans fueling the whole thing. I would much rather just not watch and enjoy my life and catch the highlights, or in this case, the lowlights, because the Astros came to town and beat the living hell out of the Dodgers. But like the little bit of the series that I did watch, it's getting back to what it says on the screen. You're identifying the holes this team has when they're playing against good, talented teams that can play together, teams that could trade away one of their best hitters in Kyle Tucker and somehow still be good. We thought that was kind of signaling a little bit of a rebuild. Them moving, Altuve to left field for some dumb reason to start the season. You're like, okay, they're in a bit of a transition year, but yet they're good. They're good again. They're a solid team. They always find a way. They produce really high-end pitching when they do, and the Dodgers are not as talented in that field right now. They're not as good. We know they're great at finding players that can sprinkle in and help the organization, or other organizations would love to have in a trade, your Michael Bush types and all that, but they're just not great at producing all-stars anymore right now. And that's what happens when you're as good as the Dodgers have been for the last 15 years as well.
Yeah. You go through different phases of the competitive cycle, and right now the Dodgers are in a window where they are, signing more free agents, making more trades, and they still have a very good farm system, and they use that, to plug holes, but also to make trades and bring in different people. Some of these Astros fans in the chat, I saw one who seems to really believe there's no difference between 2017 and the 2017 Astros and the 2018 Red Sox. If only there were published reports about the differences between those teams. But you know what,
Jeff, full well people aren't interested in doing their own research.
And maybe Augie doesn't know how to find things on the internet. That's how he's at a Dodgers podcast right now.
Bing.com.
Bing. Chandler Bing.
What's in your wallet? Well, you got any final thoughts? I mean, I think we've kind of we've aired our grievances. We know this team needs some help. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is right now, but we got a few weeks. We got about a week. We got exactly 1 week until the All-Star break, a very needed All-Star break for this team. Things will start getting a lot better after the All-Star break. We know this week Tyler Glasnow comes back. What's his name? Both the Blakes are going on minor league rehab assignments after the All-Star break. Hopefully Teoscar's foot isn't too bad, and a little bit of a reset for him gets the bat going. Same with Tommy Edman and all that kind of stuff. End of the day, the Dodgers are still in first place. They're still, the best, if not one of the best teams in the National League, teams in baseball. It just, as Denny Cortez said at the start of the show, just sucked that it happened against, the sweep had to happen against the Astros. I think that's the worst part of all of this. But overall, a sweep or losing the series, it happens. It happens.
Yep.
Still a very good baseball team.
And the good news is, mathematically speaking, I think we're guaranteed that the Dodgers will head into the All-Star break in first place in the National League West, even if even if they start the All-Star break early and just don't play this whole next week, hopefully they go into Milwaukee and just kind of their bats remember how to hit. They have some fun in Milwaukee. The Brewers aren't a great offensive team, and the Dodgers have some good pitchers coming up. We've got pitchers coming back. We got, there's things to be excited. Even this weekend, you could look at Emmett Sheehan looked really good. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani looked really good. There's
pitching, pitching.
Mookie Betts may have hit okay. Maybe starting to find something. There's little things you could pick out. You're not going to pick out positives about a 3-game sweep when you get outscored by 6,000 runs, especially not when people are here for a therapy session, which is that's the point of this episode. Hey, let's therapize. And so we've accomplished that. So I think we're done.
Yeah, I feel good about wrapping it up. More content, of course, coming up this week. Hopefully we find out some more good news when it comes to the Dodgers. They off tomorrow? What's going on? Where are we at schedule-wise? We go straight to Milwaukee?
Straight to Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we're at 4:40 Pacific time, 5:40 where I am, 7:40 in Milwaukee. No, 6:40 in Milwaukee probably. They're in.
Yeah.
Anyway, 7:40 Eastern. But yeah, we got a good pitching matchup. We got Yamamoto, All-Star Yoshinobu Yamamoto, along with All-Star Clayton Kershaw, both named to the All-Star team today. Andy Pa has snubbed so far, may get in as an injury replacement. Yeah. We'll see. The All-Star Yoshinobu Yamamoto going up against Freddie Peralta, who I assume made the All-Star team. I didn't pay attention to non-Dodgers who made the team, but Peralta's good. So, yeah, that should be a good pitching matchup, and hopefully the Dodgers Freddie Peralta did make the All-Star team. So,
of course,
teammates next week, opponents tomorrow, and hopefully good news for the Dodgers offense.
At least I have a day off on Thursday, and again, real soon have some days off. But I'll be live tomorrow on Dodgers territory with Alana Rizzo. Check out that. We have DJ Severe joining the show. So there's a good palate cleanse for everybody. We could talk to the fine DJ about some things, and then I'm assuming we'll probably be post-gaming here on All Dodgers tomorrow night. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that kind of stuff. Like the show. If you like it once, that's cool. If you like it twice, that's not cool. I recommend either 1 or 3 times. It's the best way to like the show.
A-Rod says you always want to be an odd number.
Yeah, it's fair.
Did you get that reference?
Not particularly.
Remember when A-Rod said you always want to be up by an even number of runs or by an odd number of runs because then a Grand Slam can't tie? I can't remember. A-Rod said something ridiculous a few years ago. So what I just said was really funny. That's all you need to know.
There. Gave him the clap, everybody. But appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you guys so very much for the super chats. A few people left us super chats. That goes a long way in doing things that make us be more alive and all that kind of stuff. If you're looking for a different way to support the show financially or just in general, and you're looking to join a community of Dodgers fans and watchers, do check out that Discord. Discord is available through Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. Click the join button here on YouTube. You get access to the Discord. You get access to watch parties, game meetups, all that kind of stuff. It's usually a pretty fun time hanging out with people and complaining together like family or something like that. That is Snydog on Twitter. Give him a follow. Jeff Snyder. I'm RealFRG on social media. That is where I am sitting. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online, and we'll see you on the next one.
Adios, muchachos.
God.